With Pro Tools 10, very handy visual indicators have been introduced. The first one is the Automation Follows Edit visual indicator, which is up here. So you can toggle now on and off this option that used to be available in previous versions of Pro Tools only in the Options menu down here. So what it really does, just like what it used to do in other Pro Tools versions. So let's say if I were to look at this pads clip down here, and I toggle to the volume automation curve, as I can see, I have automation written on this clip. So if I go ahead and copy this clip and paste it down here, toggle back to my volume automation curve, I can clearly see that this curve has been copied along with the clip. Now if I toggle to off this follow edit feature and I go ahead and do the exact same thing and paste down here, if I take back the volume automation curve view, I can see clearly that it is at unity gain, meaning that it did not copy the automation volume curve along with the clip. There are two more visual indicators with Pro Tools 10 that will let you quickly check whether or not any tracks in the session are soloed or muted. This is really handy when you are working with sessions that have lots of tracks in them. And basically they are up here, the solo and mute indicators. Now definitely if you have the chance to use a large mixing control surface, like the Icon integrated console for instance, then this will be much easier than when you are working in the box, which is going to force you to scroll your screen in order to check which tracks are muted and which ones are soloed. So now if I go ahead, let's say, and solo my hi-hat track for instance, it can be one or more than one track obviously. As you can see up here, the solo indicator will light yellow when any track in the session is soloed. And if none of your tracks is soloed, like now for instance, the indicator will be dimmed and green. Now, the nice thing about this solo indicator, it can as well act as a global unsolo button too. So, which means that if the track solo indicator is lit, you can click it to clear all solo tracks in the session. Now as for the track mute indicator, it will light orange when any track in the session is muted. So now my clap tracks for instance is muted and my bass track too. That's why my mute indicator is orange. The track mute indicator will be dimmed and green whenever no tracks are muted in my session, so just like right now. However, since the mute is an automatable mixing function, it is not a clickable button like the solo indicator, and it does not clear all the mutes when clicked. So it is just really a visual indicator rather than being a button plus visual indicator like the solo one. Careful with one thing though, if your muted track is hidden, the mute indicator will still light orange. So if I mute my bass track for instance and I hide it now, so there you go, the mute indicator is still orange up here. However, if I solo, let's say, this low tom track, if I go ahead and hide it, the solo indicator is now dimmed to green, and if I show my track, it is just unsoloed automatically. So just careful with that.